Everyone, thanks for inviting me in via the video to talk a little bit about the IMC promotion March Madness coming up here for the next month or so in the IMC. I just want to be clear, there's actually two ways that you can play for this promotional. The first of which is to fill out a bracket. Now, if you've never filled out a bracket, we're going to provide them for you here. And it's really simple. All you're going to do is you're going to pick which one of these two titles will have more votes than the other one, and you're going to write that title on the line next to it. So maybe trash wins in your mind, maybe fighting words wins in your line. And then you're going to do the same for these two. Put it on the line, same for these two. Put it on the line, all the way through the bracket. All right, and then you simply look to say in the future, well, which two of those winners will have more votes, and then you write it on the line right there. Okay, so you can fill out a bracket, turn that thing in. I filled one out. A lot of our staff in the building just filled one out. You can see how you do against your peers, how you do against your staff. That's one of the ways to play. If you have the most points at the end of this thing, you'll be awarded one of the gift cards, which I'll talk about a little bit here in a minute or so. So that's one way to play. The second way to play is to turn in voting slips. Every visit to the IMC earns you one voting slip, and those voting slips are what we need to tally the points for these titles to move on to the next week. So if you turn in a voting slip for trash, it gets 1 point. If you turn in a voting slip for fighting words, it gets 1 point. At the end of the week, I tally them up and I move the titles along the bracket. So you can kind of see how coming in and using the voting slips will help the titles through the process. Okay, so make sure you come in and visit, and you can get a voting slip. You just ask for one at circulation, fill it out with the title's name and your lunch ID, put it in the bucket, and if you're right, then you get qualified for one of those candy draws. Now, if you want to come in and check out titles, that's great. We got tons of awesome books in the IMC. Every checkout that you do, we'll give you 2 slips so that you can turn in twice as many votes for one of the books on the wall. Even if you don't check one out from the wall, that's fine. And if you do like some of the ones that are on the wall, whether you find it on the shelves or whether you find it on Sora, available on the self-service app, that digital reader, we'll give you 3 voting slips for that, so you can help titles of your choice try to win a little bit easier. Why play? Aside from it being fun, there's plenty of prizes that you can earn through this process as well. Every Friday we'll draw for your choice of candy. So if you have a title selection correct and we draw your name, you get to come down and pick out your choice of candy from that big box of candy on circulation. At the end of the challenge, we're going to be drawing for over $100 in gift cards from various places. So whether you win the bracket by having the most points on that bracket, or whether your name is drawn for having the correct title as the champion, you'll be able to pick from gift cards from different locations: Starbucks, Barnes & Noble's, Target, Amazon, Marcus Theaters, and some other places as well. So come on in. There's great things to win, and you can have a little bit of fun, get yourself through this long leg here until the last quarter of the school year. If you take a look at the bracket, it's super easy to fill out. You simply, like I said before, you simply choose the title that you think is going to advance on this week, and you write it on the line. And then you look and see these 2 titles, which one will beat that one, and you put it on the line. You gotta have the bracket completely filled out and turned in by March 4th, however, because that's when we start to tally up the votes for those titles. So if you want to play the bracket side, you got to make sure you have that filled out with your name and ID on it. Now, if you're looking at the bracket, it is split up by genre. You'll see classics and adventure, things like Lord of the Flies, White Fang, Peak, The River by Paulson, thriller and romance, Fault in Our Stars, which won last year up against Jenny Han's newer romance series, To All the Boys I Loved Before. Books like One of Us is Lying by McManus and April Henry's Girl in the White Van occupy that thriller genre. So great options, if you're looking for it in that category and looking for it in a certain genre. Wonderful choices in the IMC and on Sora to check out as well. We also have realistic fiction and science fiction for the first time this year. Science fiction dealing with kind of the futuristic society. These tend to be more dystopian, the choices in here, with Divergent and Feed, Shipbreaker, and Dry. Whereas realistic fiction is more grounded in reality. They're oftentimes tough stories to read, like Bradley's Fighting Words, which is a fantastic novel, but covers really difficult topics. Things like, foster families and rape and drug uses and suicide, things that are difficult to talk about and hear about, but meaningful and wonderful reads. Books like Trash, which look at current living situations and give you underdog kind of heroes and fights, and books like Kwame Alexander's Crossover, which takes basketball and life kind of on the court and off the court, and gives you wonderful, compelling stories written in verse, no doubt. But additionally, we've got historical fiction and magic and fantasy. So if you do like these grounded in reality ones, but you really like World War II, Schindler's List, Allies, and Nightfather all deal with topics in World War II. Maybe you're really interested in American history when you're talking about that period where we had slavery as kind of an institution, throughout the United States. Stella and the Starlight might be right up your alley. All great options, all great reads, and all available in the IMC and on Sora. Magic and fantasy, though, that's the one. If you want to escape reality a little bit, this is where you should be. We've got wonderful options for the first year ever on the wall. We've got Demon Slayer, a graphic novel. If you've never tried it before, this would be a great year to pick one up. We've got awesome options in that graphic novel section. It's up against a book, Twilight. It's a series that's got everything: vampires and werewolves and teen romance and teen loss and teen drama. It's one that I keep thinking it's going to kind of lose its momentum, and every year it's got a ton of checkouts. And you'll see there too, the Chronicles of Narnia and the Throne of Glass, one of the classic magic or fantasy kind of story series in the Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis, and one of the new up-and-coming, really well-respected and well-reviewed series, Throne of Glass. So all of these are available in the IMC or on Sora, and your goal is to pick the winner and then help that book that you pick become a winner by coming in and seeing us in the IMC and casting your votes to see if you can in fact beat my bracket and the other staff member and students that are competing to see if you can win your share of over $100 in gift cards and candy. So remember, 2 ways to play: fill out a bracket or turn in voting slips. That bracket, though, make sure you've got it into me by Friday, March 4th, so that we can make sure that you are in on time, that you don't miss the deadline. Otherwise, you can stop in every single day and turn in voting slips for your favorite title, or maybe you just want to stick it to one of your friends, so you're going to vote against whatever title they vote against. That's fine, too. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to count. So if you have any questions, you can direct them to me, any of the library staff, or your English teachers, and they'll pass them along to me, and we'll get you those questions answered. Otherwise, thanks for your time. I hope to see you in the IMC and to have a little fun destroying you and your bracket.